Hello everybody, it's Foxy speaking, and welcome to another episode of Foxy's Fun Inspirational Chats. And today I will be your host. And in this episode, this is an episode about an adventure story, being the adventures of myself and David Scott. We all went on an adventure together. Well, I don't know if one could dare describe it as an adventure. Let's say this story is not set for 2023, but let's say this story I'm about to tell is set for the year of, say, either 2024 or 2025, something like that. You know, it wasn't just myself and David involved. There were people like, let's include people, say, like Tommy Gardiner. And, he has a YouTube account which only comes as Tom Gardiner, but Tommy Gardiner. I'm sure many people have been, in the referral to himself, have always been referring to him as either Tom, Thomas or Tommy. Tommy Gardiner, Thomas Garvioli. I don't know if Thomas Garvioli is married or not either, but let's just say they are. I mean, I'm fairly sure Tommy Gardiner is much older than myself, and I'm sure he's married, but I cannot be certain. Thomas Garvioli, Ian Postlethwaite, let's say we'll include him, and yes, I'd say it's essentially just us five men, but I would say not just us five men, but I'm sure, but if they are married, I don't know if they are or not, let's just say include their wives too, or spousal partners, what have you. Say we all went on an adventure. Tommy Gardiner, Thomas Garvioli and Ian Postlethwaite, they'd all came down to the Brighton and Hove region for a holiday. And it's, say, the spring of 2024, 2025, something like that. Maybe 2025 would sound better, as we're 2023 now, but we all went out. We were in Brighton. They had a little holiday in the Brighton and Hove region, and it had just been, the event of the Magnificent Motors event had just gone, as well as the Bank Holiday Monday for the HP Miniature Railway, and whatever their 2025 running days will be, but 2 years away. And obviously the London to Brighton HCVS run, depending on what 2025 running date it will have. Presumably the second Sunday, 11th of May 2025, I would assume, something like that. One should see. Let's just say that all happened. And it was one Thursday. And it wasn't terribly long before Tommy Gardiner, Thomas Garvioli and Ian Postlethwaite were due to head back home. So we decided to go out for a drink that very evening, and I decided to invite David to come along too, since they were quite interested with David too. Not just myself, but David as well, as they had, not just in the story, but in real life, Tommy Gardiner has watched some of my videos and commented on some of the fairground organ videos I've made and all that. And I think Tommy Gardiner did once watch an episode of one of the Inspirational Chats episodes, but then his comment disappeared, surprisingly. I mean, I didn't do anything to it. I responded to whatever he had to say when I did the episode, but his comment disappeared, surprisingly, vanished. No, not to worry, Tommy. I did receive what you said that time, back in July of 2022, I think it was, something like that, yes. We all decided to go out for a drink at the Milo Kin pub. We all got the bus together, but before going to the pub, we decided to go into the Covet shop in Hove. And so we got off the bus at the bus stop, and all of us being myself, David, Tommy Gardner, Thomas Garvioli and Ian Postlethwaite, and I would assume they're married, so let's just say their wives as well came along. We all went along together to the Covid shop, and we all went inside. I bought whatever it was I needed from there. David decided to purchase something once seeing all the accessories for himself inside the Covid shop itself or within its interior. Tommy bought himself a nice shirt, as did Thomas Garvioli and Ian Postlethwaite, as they were quite surprised. They were both surprised and intrigued with all they had to offer. And Tommy Gardner also bought himself a pair of under socks in the Covid shop too. But although we decided not to debate who would pay first or go first paying for whatever items necessary, I decided to let David Scott go first to pay for whatever it was he needed to pay for, and then I go second, and then Tommy after myself, Thomas after Tommy, and Ian after Thomas. We exchanged and bid our goodbyes to one of the Covid ladies, as well as other people who either browsed or came in looking for something in the shop, and we respectfully left and walked to the bus stop and got on the bus to Mile Oak, getting out at the bus stop opposite the Mile Oak Inn pub. But we also took some videos of the bus trip. I took a video of my video camera, as did David, and not just David taking a video on his video camera, but Tommy Gardner took a video, Thomas Garvioli took a video, even though his YouTube channel is comprised generally of and predominantly of fairground organ musical soundtracks. And Ian Postlethwaite took a video too, even though his channel is predominantly and generally comprised of fairground musical organ videos, of merry-go-round videos, what have you, and something like that and all the rest of it. We all took videos as well, and then we got out at the Mile Oak Inn bus stop, but we did not take any videos inside the pub. We did not do that. I'm afraid not. Never mind. But it's just, it would be a little bit unusual if we took a video inside the pub. Took some photographs of all of us as a group. Yes, we got some photographs of us taken together, holding our either pint glasses or non-alcoholic drinks glasses, whatever we were having to drink. I had a pint of beer. David decided to have a pint as well, but he did not have as many pints as, say, myself, Tommy Gardner, Thomas Garvioli or Ian Postlethwaite. But that was all right. After a good few drinks, after a good few hours, we left the pub, fortunately not drunk, but tipsy though. But luckily we were conscious of where we were going, and had full competence and were conscious of what we were doing. The bus before long came along. I was the one that stopped the bus, and we all got onto the bus. I was the one who had to get out the bus first to get back home. David stayed on the bus, and I bid my goodbyes to both David Scott, Ian Postlethwaite, Tommy Gardner and Thomas Garvioli, and I said, "Goodbye, you four. I hope to see you three soon, Thomas, Tommy and Ian." And then I said to David, "Yes, I'll see you at the Lawton event for 2025. It was like, "Yeah, we'll do, mate," David said. And I respectfully, happily waved my goodbyes and walked off the bus. Though tipsy, I was fortunately not drunk. The bus left the bus stop, and David, Thomas, Tommy and Ian gave me away from the upstairs window, and I gave them away from outside as the bus left. All of us waved until we were just completely out of sight, and I went back home feeling extremely happy with myself that not only had I met Tommy Gardiner, Thomas Galvioli and Ian Postlethwaite about 2 or 3 times, but that it was myself and David who managed to have a little adventure with them. I was certainly most happy about that. The end. Well, thanks all everybody for watching this video. I don't know if that was quite the full adventure, because I was going to include something like we were in Rottingdean and all that before getting to the Covet part and the Milo Kin pub part, what have you, and all the rest of that. But this is just a future fictional story, just to say. I don't know if this would happen in real life or not, but would I like it to happen in real life? Certainly, yes. But I don't know if this will spill off or happen in real life. That's the unknown. I mean, I wouldn't completely think so. I mean, it could, but I wouldn't know. But it's good to think imaginatively about those sorts of things, you know, for the time being. It might strike David as a little bit surprising, but if it did go a little too far, David, this story, I am sorry. I only meant this. I did not do it with poor intent, making up this fictional future story of myself, yourself, Tommy Gardiner, Thomas Galvioli and Ian Postlethwaite. I did not do it with poor intent, making up this story. And obviously, like you said to me before, and I completely acknowledged and agreed with your point, David, if you're watching, it would likely have to be a fairground organ event like the Lawton Rally or Tinker's Park or Parham Park or Broyle in order for us to really get together like that. But it's okay. I am more than highly confident something like this. I have the full highest confidence, fingers crossed, something like this will happen, where myself and yourself, David, will encounter Tommy Gardiner, Thomas Galvioli and Ian Postlethwaite at one of these vintage events, like the Lawton, Tinker's Park, Broyle, Parham Park, and or Hellingley Festival of Transport, what have you, and all the rest of it. Oh yes, indeed so. Well, thanks everybody, and also thanks David, Tommy, Thomas and Ian, if you 4 were watching this, and everybody else, thanks for watching, and I shall certainly see you in the next episode. Ta-ta, another time. From Foxy. Oh.